Greetings, Christian Fellowship Center. This is Derek Lewandowski. I know a lot of you know my wife Heidi and I, as we spent many wonderful years up there and have so many friends up there. So we greet you in the name of the Lord Jesus. We're doing well down here in Avon, New York with our family and our church life and all that the Lord is doing among us. So my brother Ben asked me to share just a brief story about my time in Sudan going back 15 years ago when I went to South Sudan. And I was with a ministry called Shekinah Kalibu Ministries, led by Michael Howard, a friend of mine. It was a very powerful experience going there. Michael Howard went to South Sudan to start a Bible school, and the government literally just gave him a piece of property with an old military barracks on it that he had to clean up and clean out, and then he started a Bible school, but he didn't have any students. So you got a Bible school, you need students. So the government said, we want our soldiers who are fighting in the civil war against the Islamic regime of the North, we want them to know if they die that they're going to heaven. So we will give you Bible school students, and you give us pastors and chaplains. So they literally went to the front lines, the government did, and they picked 100 guys off the front lines and said, okay, you are a Bible school student now, and you are a Bible school student. So the first thing Michael had to do, first class he had to teach was about salvation, because most of these guys didn't know Christ, so they had to get saved. And then he discipled them and raised them up in ministry over the several-year period that they were in the school. So anyway, I went with a few friends of mine to do some music and sharing at the very first graduation of these students. I heard amazing stories about how God had been moving there when the radical Islamic regime of the North found out that they had a Bible school in the South. They did not like that, so they tried to bomb the academy between 4 and 5 times a week for the first 6 months they were there. And the bombs never harmed anybody. One day, 2 one-ton bombs were being dropped directly over the academy, as Michael told the story. He called out to the Lord as he looked up and realized it was going to be a direct hit. And he said it was like angels hit the bombs, and the bombs just came down and separated in a perfectly inverted Y, he said. And they landed on either side of the academy, and everybody was safe. So just amazing things. And so we landed in northern Uganda, across the border into South Sudan, and it's just like war zone, poverty. The roads were horrendous. The roads were basically just bombed out, burned out, ditches, little like ruts from streams that had run through the road. They were totally unkept. There was actually one stretch of 100 yards of pavement that years back Idi Amin had put in, I guess, to show the Ugandans what he could do to help them. It was just like 100 yards of pavement. What he could do to help them if they would basically, follow him. I'm sorry, he was in Uganda. He wanted to show the Sudanese what he could do to help them if they would sort of serve his regime. So anyway, we went to Ye, Sudan. The top 3 causes of death in Ye, Sudan at the time I went were number 1, malaria, number 2, AIDS, and number 3, snake bites. Anybody want to go? So it's pretty dangerous place to go, pretty intense. We went during wartime. Matter of fact, the first night we were there, a bombing plane came overhead. So all that to say, I expected to find a very serious, sober-minded, intense group of Christians there because of the conditions that they were in, the poverty, the war, the fragility of life. And yet, I have never found a more joyful group of Christians anywhere in the world than I found in South Sudan in 2003 in the middle of a war. It was amazing. It was such a riveting experience that it stuck with me to this day. And, I'm looking at them and, just the raucous laughter, the lightheartedness, the joking around with each other, the joy that they had in the Lord. And I thought, well, they don't have anything, they don't have what we have in America. They don't have houses, and they don't even know how they're going to eat sometimes. And life and death is always staring them in the face, and yet they had joy. And I realized that what they had was Christ. And I think it was Elizabeth Elliot who said, sometimes you don't know that Jesus is all you need until Jesus is all you have. And that really describes what I saw. If I could summarize it simply, the message of their lives was Jesus is enough. And in part, I was embarrassed when I thought about all the ways that people, not only outside the church, but inside the church, are tangled up in circumstances and things of this world, and how they'd found a joy that was not attached to the things of this world. And it provoked me, to seek that joy. And it comforted me to know that no matter what happens in my life, Jesus is enough. And it was a blessing to see that, and a blessing to experience that. And it's a special thing when you see genuine, sincere faith and the life of the Spirit, especially in a place like that where they have nothing. So hope that encourages you today. God bless you and your community of believers there in Northern New York. Hope to see you again sometime. Haven't been there in over 10 years, but we think of you often. So God bless.